Hey YouTube, it's your girl Tink Authentic Co. Welcome to my channel, Life with Tink, and I am back with another video. I'm not gonna lie, this video is well overdue. And with that being said, in this video, I will be doing a Q&A on Sterile Processing Tech. In my last video, I asked if you guys could comment some questions that you may have for me to answer. And so I have screenshotted a few questions and I'm going to put them on the screen so that way not only am I reading it to y'all, but that y'all can also see who said what and also to gain recognition. So the first question is it typical you work alone like this? So to answer your question, no, it is not typical for me to work alone by myself. When you're working at a surgery center, depending on the workload, it may be you by yourself, but when it's a workload like a hospital, it's going to be more than two people. Okay, moving along. What type of school are you attending? Trade, 2-year school, or online? So for me, I did a 2-year college. I did a community college. I know people who have done online school, the advanced schooling, and trade. But for me, I took the 2-year route because that's what I preferred. Okay, next question. Where did you go get your certification? I end up going with Isham. And all you would have to do is print out the form, fill it out, send it to them, and then they will kind of contact you. Okay, so can you do a video on how to strengthen your resume before applying and tips to land the job? Yes, I can. Thank you for asking that question, by the way. Okay, moving along. I was wondering if you could tell me about how long it took for your schooling and also how long it took before you felt like you actually know what you're doing. So it took me 2 years for the schooling. And I want to say once I started my clinicals and getting the hands-on experience, that's when I started to feel like I know what I'm doing. Because it's like, yeah, I'm learning, but you also have to have the hands-on experience. So I feel like once you get that part, then you'll know what you're doing. And also, please keep in mind that the schooling depends on you. So it depends on how many classes you take in a semester, things like that, if you're passing or failing or if you have to retake a class. Next question is I forgot to ask, how long before you felt you knew how to navigate the hospital? It looks very confusing, like a maze, but I'm sure that comes with time. You technically just answered your question. It comes with time. When I first started, I did get lost, but as the longer you stay and work with a company or hospital or whatever, the more you get familiar of where you're going and how to navigate through the hospital. That's all it is. But real quick, if you haven't did so, please check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Tink Authentic Co. That's TinkAuthenticco. How did you become an SPD? Debating to study for exam or enroll in a program. I became a sterile processing tech talking to my student advisor. I had a change of heart of the study that I was studying, and I just felt like that's not what I wanted to do. And so I talked to my student advisor and they told me about sterile processing tech, and I took an interest for it. So that's how I really started. It says, with schooling and everything else, how long did it take? So I did already answer this. It took me about 2 years. It can maybe take a little longer because you're still doing clinicals, but typically 2 years, really. And thank you to y'all who really comment some questions for me to answer, because y'all are engaging with my content and I appreciate it. And let me tell y'all this. When I start making money from YouTube, best believe I am going to be the one that's going to help y'all out regardless, in any shape or form. Please believe that. Mark my words. Any tips for the CRCST exam? Any tips finding a clinical site? So as far as finding any clinical sites, no, I do not have any tips for that because I didn't have to find a clinical site. my school did that for me. They assigned us all to a certain hospital or setting for us to do our clinicals. Now, as far as studying for the CRCST exam, yes, I do recommend using the book that they provide you with in school. And also, I use this website that helped me out. Now, someone told me that some of the answers that they gave them were wrong. I don't know. I feel like they didn't really, I don't think they was on a right website, because I didn't never have any of those types of problems. So truthfully, if you want that website, let me know, but please use it at your own discretion, because I don't want to give y'all anything that's not going to help, because that would help me. Like, that's what I use mainly to study, and I use that every day, 30 minutes. Anytime I got the chance to be on my phone, I will go on that website and go answer those questions. And the ones that I kept getting wrong, I would keep retrying those questions until I got it wrong, because there's no need for me to redo the ones that I got right when I already know the answers. That's why I was kind of lost on how she said that they was giving her the wrong answers, because baby, I was making sure the answer that they said that it was the legit answer, because I would compare their answer to my book answer, and guess what? They both said it was right. So I don't know what she's talking about. So yes, if y'all do want it, I will give y'all that website. So just let me know. Can you get more working hours in night shift? So I don't know what you mean by that, but if you meant can you work more hours on night shift or work more hours in night shift, I don't know. But yes, if you meant can you work additional hours, yes you can. They do offer overtime, and there is night shift. Is the job hard in your opinion? In my opinion, no, the job is not hard. It can be overwhelming and it can be challenging, only because you have to multitask, and it's just a lot. And also pay attention, but it's not hard. You went to a college? Yes, I did go to a college. I went to a community college, in fact. How is the pay? This is a question I get asked a lot. I don't know, the pay isn't the best, but it's not the worst. I can say that I just feel like just as much as the surgical tech matters, the same with sterile processing tech. And I feel that a sterile processing tech should get paid near the amount where a surgical tech get paid. Today is my first day of a sterile process at my community college. I'm so excited. What is the starting pay? So this is another question that is asked a lot. And truthfully, to tell y'all guys the truth, each and every hospital, surgery center, company is different. Their starting pay isn't the same. But typically, I don't know, every place isn't the same. So I can't give an exact number, but what I can give is a range. So I would say between 16 to maybe 18 an hour, barely even 18 to be honest, starting off, because you have to gain the experience to make 18 and more. Okay, so I work in a warehouse on the production floor, so I am used to fast pace. The only issue I have is people. Sometimes it's hard to avoid someone that's irritating you, so HR management only separate you if it escalate to a heated argument or something respectful. I don't like working with this person, doesn't result in much. So my question is, how difficult is it to block out the negativity and to be able to focus on your work? So you can focus on your work. You just can't let people get to you to not be able to focus on your work. However, the blocking out the negativity, you can by just speaking to people in the morning, good morning, hello, and then saying goodbye, hello. I mean, not hello. Have a nice one, have a nice night, have a nice weekend, whatsoever. And just leave it at that. As far as conversating, getting to know people, no. Keep it short. Come in there and do your job. And that's it. That's the only way to block out the negativity, because conversating with negative people will pull you into that negative energy and negative conversation. That's what I learned. So it's not hard to focus on your work, but it is hard to not get pulled into that negative environment because you're working in a negative environment? I feel like this is a good question. Nice video. Do they have any people over the age 50 working as a sterile tech? And to answer your question, yes, they do have people working 50 and older as sterile processing tech. It can be a lot on your body, but just because you're old don't mean you can't do it. I have a coworker of mine. She's like my work mom. She's about 60 years old, and she's a sterile processing tech, and that's who I work for when she wants me to cover at her facility, which is where I'm at in this video. And if you're older and you're feeling discouraged, don't, okay? Because it is people that's your age that's working as a sterile processing tech. And if it's something you want to do, go for it. Life is too short. Okay, we're on the last question. How can I do this and start through a job with them train me? I went to a community college and the professor was awful. We didn't even have HSPA workbook. Before I answer your question, I do want to say I'm sorry that you had that experience. Truthfully, I don't think there's any more jobs that will take you in with no experience. At a point in time, the hospital I was working at was doing that. They was taking people off the street that didn't have no background experience or knowledge of sterile processing tech, and they would train them, had them go and get certified. But I don't think they're doing that anymore because people took advantage of that opportunity, and then also people were just taking advantage of the sign-on bonus and wasn't really trying to get certified and really further their career in it. But that's all for this video. Let me know if you guys want me to do a part 2 Q&A on sterile processing or anything or any questions that y'all have for me in general. I don't mind answering. Also, again, thank you guys for supporting me, because y'all don't have to watch my videos. Y'all don't have to engage with any of my content, but y'all do anyway. So I really do appreciate that. And I want to thank God for allowing me to use this platform in the way that I should. See y'all in my next video. Peace out.